What is going on, you guys? It's your boy Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco, here with my brothers from another's, mothers, all that good stuff. Got my guy James and George in the building. Best enemies, we back, man. What's going on, boys? What's going on?
It's good, man. Happy to be here. How you doing today, bro?
I'm living the dream. I'm
Living the
living the
dream, all
dream.
right.
Chill, yeah. Chilling another day of life. Can't
So,
complain.
so let's get right into it, man. Let's get it. Let's hop right into it. I want to start with what makes me happy, and then we'll go to some, bitter
Mm,
news. Jahan Mother and Dotson. Jahan Mother and Dotson. I said it last week. I was like, hey, boy could come to Philly. You know what I'm saying? He's
You
from Penn
did say
State.
that.
Hey,
hmm
I would love to see it. It happens. Honestly, a very, very low price tag, in my opinion. Um, I'll say this off rip. When I saw the trade, I was kind of surprised. I'm not going to lie to you because of the price tag. I know that you were kind of saying last week that he was kind of trying to figure out where he fit into that offense.
hmm
But I'm ecstatic. I mean, as a wide receiver 3, that's a heck of a guy to have at your wide receiver 3 spot. And I think looking forward, God forbid if something ever happens to a Devontae Smith or a AJ Brown, you now have a guy that can kind of step right into that role, and not really miss too much of a beat. But I know my audience, I know my fan base. I know we want to hear what George Carmi thinks. That's what we came here for.
we were
We want to
that.
know
Yeah,
what
I
Carmi
got you.
thinks.
I got you. I got you. We'll talk about it. It's funny as hell because you and I were talking a couple of years ago, and we know each other for a couple of years now. When Jahan Dotson was drafted, you hit me up. You're like, "Yo, you got a good
Mhm.
one." You're hyped about that. Like the Penn State guy, the Penn State connection there. I like Jahan Dotson. Like, I think I'm a little bit disappointed in the trade. I'm not gonna lie. Like I think there's two sides to the story, and I'll tell you both sides. If you can talk it out, and hopefully some Eagle fans come in here and kind of give me some hell to on here this too. But Jahan Dotson, I think, is a good player. I think you guys got him. I think you guys got him on a good deal too. Like a lot of Commander fans won't say that. They'll be like, "Oh, we got him. We got something for him," as opposed to nothing. People are kind of arguing that element to it. I'm disappointed because I feel like there was potential with him. Right? He's 24 years old. He's going into his third year. The Eagles now have 3 more years of his contract under your table. Now you guys can do whatever you want with that. So there is potential. The problem with it, though, and this is what I'm going to tell you the other side of the story, is with Dotson, he wasn't finding a fit here. We were talking about that last week, Joe. He's a smaller wide receiver. He's more of like a route running wide receiver, and he's great in open space. But his knock is that he struggles to get off press coverage. Like they're going to press him. They're going to basically shove him. They're going to beat him up a little bit, and he struggles to get off the line. Um, you have to basically move him around. You have to put him in like stack formations and kind of bunch formations to get him loose. But when he's loose, he's good. And on top of that, he was short-handed his rookie year and awesome at Penn State. He wouldn't drop the ball at all. But last year, he was starting to get the yips a little bit and started to drop the ball a little bit. So it's like a little bit of the drops. He's not really a strong guy. They want a wide receiver that can block this formation. That's why he wasn't going to fit in here because Luke McCaffrey's here, and it's kind of funny. Dimey Brown's growing up a little bit too. But in my perspective, I'm a little bit disappointed that we gave up on him too soon because it's only 2 years down. Last year was a hot mess with Eric Bieniemy as our offensive coordinator. He was basically throwing the ball left and right. There was a lot of issues there. So I don't think they were using him correctly. So I was kind of happy to see him maybe grow this year, almost like a fresh start. But we basically let him go. That being said, and I'll throw it back to you. I'm curious what the hell's going on, right? When do we ever trade within the division, right? And we gave you guys a 5th-round pick to take Jahan Dotson. So that kind of shows me like something's going on. There's some smoke there, some issues going on there. There's talk about body language. There's Jahan Dotson wasn't happy with the way things were going. They put him at punt return. He kind of got a little bit kind of pissed off about that. He wasn't happy to be a punt returner there in DC. So there was a little bit of a friction going on. So I think it was kind of like getting rid of him and maybe taking advantage of getting something as opposed to nothing. But as a fan, as someone you root for a player, you're kind of disappointed this young potential good player is gone to a division rival, and it's not like our wide receivers are that strong anyway. Our wide receiver room got weaker, yours got better, and we got a
That's
third
bad.
round pick. And I mean, 3rd-round pick at 2.7s. Like, I don't care about two. Do you guys care about 2.7 round picks?
I don't think so.
I don't care
mean,
about that. Yeah.
Look, we got Jordan Mailata in the 7th round. So I'm not gonna sit here and act like 7th rounders never make this team. We
That's
have
true.
a pretty good. I'm gonna be honest. We have a pretty good history of late round picks. I mean,
Okay.
you even look at like a guy like Jason Kelsey, who was I think a 5th round pick. Not saying that it's the treasure, trove that we want. But yeah, I mean, seventh, we'll give him up. So we'll definitely give him up.
Mhm.
But that's my biggest thing is that you guys aren't strong at wide receiver spot, and that's the weirdest thing that you would just boost our team even more. And shout out to everybody in the chat talking about boost. We got 120 people in here. Restream, I'm switching from Restream. They're not even showing me any of the chats.
Yeah, I don't see
So
it on the chat. Yeah,
I don't even know what's going on with Restream right now. So, but shout out to everybody. We got 120 plus people in here. We've had 120 plus people since we kind of walked in. So shout out to y'all. We love y'all. I'm looking at the chats. I'm sure they're looking at theirs as well. So, we'll get to the chats if you guys got anything to say. But yeah, I mean, I was shocked because, like you said, not only do you give up the fifth round pick with Jahan Dotson, Jahan was a first round pick. I mean, it's not like this guy's a third, fourth round pick that you're just like, whatever, But is Dyami Brown now that guy? Like you assume, right? Is that where you guys are headed now? Is he just going to be that guy?
That's the $1 million question. And I think going into camp, it is, right? Like, Dyami Brown is so funny. Like, I'm always going to be straight up with all these. Every time I'm on the show, I'm always going to be straight up with you. Dyami Brown, we was drafted in the third round. They connected with him with Sam Howell. They're like, he could potentially rejuvenate his career. He's going to basically translate that whole UNC connection over here in DC. It never came to fruition, right? I'll be straight up with you. People won't say this, but like 2 months ago, people were like, Dyami Brown's on the bubble. Is he even going to make the team? Like, is he going to be a player that's going to be, a big piece for Washington? To Dyami's credit, he's had an awesome camp, right? They say every camp he's catching 500 balls a day after practice, and he's putting in the work. That's so funny. Everyone, football players have that Instagram. Like, he's on Instagram, like, count me out, like talking trash about how, everyone's doubting him and all that. So he's rising to the occasion, and the new coaches like him. So we'll see what happens. But, like, it's going to be hard because I think Dyami Brown had, guys, 12 catches last year, 12 catches in the regular season last year. How are you going to go from that to like a 70 catch season off the break? You never know. We see crazier things in the NFL. But let's just hope that Jaden Daniels is the force multiplier and can make him better, man. Because Daniels is good. We're happy with him.
Yeah. The last question I have, on Jahan Dotson really is because I'm going to say, obviously I watched him in Penn State. I was a fan of him. I thought he was pretty good. I look at the numbers and look at Washington. It's easy, no offense. It's easy to say he never had a quarterback, right? It's easy to say he was never put in a good situation.
Yeah.
As a Commanders fan, and I want you to be honest with me, what's the pros and cons? What can we realistically as Eagles fans expect from Jahan Dotson? Because obviously he is going to be our wide receiver 3, but I don't think that Eagles fans realistically know what he is. I think that you probably got a better, view than anybody of what you can really expect from a Jahan Dotson. So do you think that he has the ability to go into year 3 and take a big step, or do you think wide receiver 3 is a good spot for him?
So I think he's a great fit for your team. I think he's going to make you guys more diverse because you do have AJ Brown, you have Devontae Smith, so you guys have a true 1 and 1A. I think you guys have really strong wide receivers, and like they complement each other very well. AJ Brown's that big bully wide receiver; he can go deep, who can man up at contested catches, right? Devontae Smith's that burner; he can run routes, right? Jahan Dotson is an ideal slot wide receiver. He should have been a slot wide receiver off the break. At Washington, they put him on the wide, they moved him around, they put him outside in the boundary and in the slot. And he's a good wide receiver. Like I said, he's not going to bring much in regard to blocking. He's not going to bring much in regard to physicality. But if your coach can scheme him open, he's a great route runner. Like people would argue, like the media guys around here, he's probably would be one of the better. It's him or McLaurin. Who's a better route runner? Sometimes people would say Dotson was a better route runner than McLaurin, right? The thing is, though, McLaurin is tough as shit. He basically blocks. He catches the ball. He's contested catches. He does everything. He runs after the catch. He's tougher, right? Dotson isn't tough, but he's a good underneath kind of. He'll catch some balls underneath. He's good in space, right? And I think that's why he'll be pretty strong for you guys because we needed him as like a 1 or 2. He's option 4, 5, 6 for you guys, and that's fine. The pressure comes off of him. I think he's going to be a better real life player than production player though, because I feel like you guys have other weapons. You guys aren't going to depend. He might be like a 30, 40 catch guy for you because you have so many other weapons, but I think he's going to be like. Let's say someone's doubling AJ Brown or, taking away Devontae Smith. I can see, Dotson having a good game. Like, I wouldn't be surprised, 8 catches, 68 yards, 70 yards. Like, that's the kind of guy he's going to eat underneath. I think he'll be fine for you guys.
I'm excited now.
I think we froze
James sitting there, and James, he did freeze. All right, cool. All right, no, there he is. He's there. He's there.
Well,
So
I gotta ask you a question before we move on, though, Joe. Are you?
Go ahead.
You're happy about the trade? You don't think a third round pick was too much? You don't think it was too low? What was your thoughts like on the I guess the what's the best word for it? What you gave up for him?
I think that it made a lot of sense. I think that especially like obviously I'm not in Howie's head, but it seemed like we weren't 100% sold on who our wide receiver 3 would be. You know, Paris Campbell we had out there. Johnny Wilson looked decent. We had a couple guys that, you know, they thought maybe could, you know, John Ross, they were hoping maybe would take that spot, but I don't think anybody really did. I don't think any of them really like separated themselves from the pack. So I think that if you felt that was a position of need, and like you said, it is probably 4th or 5th option, but it's an important option. I mean, we've seen when Quez Watkins was out there, the important plays that, you know, he didn't complete, you know. So that guy is going to see some important passes. He's going to see some important plays. So I don't think a 3rd round is too high. I think that we have multiple 3rd rounds next year anyways. So I'm cool with it. I think that, and you even look at his contract. I mean, he has 2 more years under contract, his rookie contract, 3 if you want to take the 5th year option. So you basically drafted a guy in the 3rd round. That's kind of how I'm looking at it, to be 100% honest. So I love it. I think that he's a really good player too. So, and you know, Penn State, and you know, we got one other Penn State guy out there that was taken in the 1st round in the NFC East.
I saw them in the chat. Oh my God.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I'm cool with it. I'm happy. I think a lot of Eagles fans are happy as well. You have a guy that's at the very least proved that he can be efficient. He's proven that he can catch the ball. He can go out there and be at worst a wide receiver 3. So I think we're all cool with it. We'll see what happens. Like you said, one thing I will say is that Eagles fans are very fickle sometimes. And if he does go out there and only have 30 catches, you know, 40 catches, I don't know how Eagles fans are going to react, because I don't think they will 100% buy into he's just a wide receiver 3. That makes sense. They're going to probably want a little bit more. So it's going to be interesting. I'll say that much. It's going to be very interesting.
He's better than Quez Watkins. I'll tell you that. I remember you and I, like a couple of years ago, you would always hype up Quez Watkins. I'm like, dude, get out of here with Quez Watkins. Every single time you talk to me about him, Dotson is better than Quez Watkins 100%. I am kind of curious how he'll react to the fan base, because it seems like he kind of got down on himself this year. And it's like, if he's getting down on himself in July in DC with a new era, new fresh start, I wonder how these will be treated in Philadelphia. And then my last thing I'm going to plug is I hope this is a domino for something else, right? Like we keep on talking about it, getting that 3rd round pick, accumulating picks. I'm kind of curious what's going to happen. I love it. Like, there's some wide receivers that are disgruntled right now with their contracts. You know, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, T. Higgins. Some of these guys are floating around. I'd love to have them in DC. You heard me, BJ? So James right there. I love to have them there in DC. So I'm hoping for all that. You know, so it's all good.
I would love to see CeeDee Lamb.
That'd be so good.
That ain't. We know that ain't.
I'll be so happy with that. That's crazy. Yeah.
But James, man, all right.
Yo.
I'm gleeful. I'm happy. But things I'm not gonna laugh at it. It's not, you know, laughing matter or anything like that. But obviously, terrible news out of Dallas with Deron Bland. Like, I mean, as an Eagles fan, obviously, you know, you don't want to see your other team doing well, but I want to see Deron Bland and Trayvon Diggs as a NFL fan. I think that would be fun to kind of watch them in the same secondary. What's the plan? Is there a plan? Is there what's the feel out there after everything going down?
I think it's frustrating because you want these two to play together, and it's like they haven't really had significant time together, except maybe Deron Bland's like 1st year, but not really even then, because, you know, Diggs got hurt. So it's like you're wanting to get both of those guys on the field at the same time, and that's what the excitement was for. We were waited all year for Diggs to get back. He rehabbed from his injury kind of early, was already on the field, got taken off the pup, and was in training camp already doing it. So we're feeling like, okay, now you got your 2 starters. Carson was looking good, your draft pick, your fifth round draft pick. He was looking good. You had Jordan Lewis, so it was like, okay, secondary is looking solid. Let's look at other things. Then that comes out of nowhere, and then still Diggs hasn't touched the field. And no matter how good he has looked in training camp and how good you feel, he still hasn't played a game since the injury. So now there's pressure on him because Bland's out 6 to 8 weeks. Now you got to shuffle. They're probably gonna look on the waiver wire, maybe look for a veteran. I don't really. I've seen a few people. I don't know, who's really going to come in and really do something. Now it really hurts that you didn't get a Stephen Gilmore, right? When he was sitting out there that whole time, and we were like, go ahead and just get him because he's a veteran. Just go ahead and get him. He's a veteran, and Dallas didn't want to do it. Now he ends up signing with the Vikings, I believe, and now that's a guy that you could have had back in the fold with the injury. If you had Bland, you like, oh, well, we got Gilmore back, we're okay, until the short run, to the short term until he gets back. Now you got to scramble, and I just think it throws a monkey wrench into a lot of things. And like I said, it puts pressure on Diggs, and I haven't seen him back on the field, so I'm still paranoid about that. You know what I mean? Going into the season.
James, what happened to Bland? I missed it. I was out last night. I saw it on the ticker, but I don't know what happened. He's out 6 to 8 weeks for what?
Stress fracture.
Okay. Was it in the game or was it during practice or was it
practice? It was practice. Okay. It was during practice. He kept on feeling some soreness.
Okay.
And then they evaluated him after practice, and then that's what they came up with. So, as I said before, it's just kind of frustrating because you had some young guys that were playing okay in preseason, but you weren't looking to them, to be guys, and now that you have a Bland out, unless you get a veteran, now you got rookies. Now that cornerback room that was like you were feeling good about, now it's like, okay, now you got Carson, who's a rookie. You like him, but you don't like him having put all that pressure on him, right? You liked him to be able to come in smoothly and not say, hey, you got to hit the ground running now. And that's where I think, you probably going to have to go out there and get a vet. But once again, that Gilmore signing, he had all year. Like, he was out there all year. You had all year to re him up, get him back, and they didn't. And once again, I think that's the biggest problem with the Cowboys, in my opinion. They always sit on their hands, and wait till the last minute. And then when something bites them in the butt, then they scrambling. And I think this might be a situation right here. So we'll see what happens. But we did trade for Booth, Andrew Booth. He played with the Vikings, and maybe he comes in a more prominent role. He was drafted to be a guy, so now maybe he slides in and plays a lot more. So it'll be a lot of pressure on him. So that trade that they made with him and Nahshon Wright, now he's got to come to the forefront and make plays.
Shout out to everybody in the chat. We got 240 people, and trust me, I see everybody telling me that Jalen Hurts sucks. So don't worry.
Sorry, I'm sorry if I don't see anybody because I'm on my phone, so I can't see anybody in the chat. So I apologize if I like. Why ain't he saying nothing to me? That's why.
Oh no, don't worry. They're holding you down. You got Trey Fargo in there telling me that Hurts can't throw. Dustin Roberts, Eastside Harold talking about Texans. Same old same.
Nothing, oh my God!
Yeah, too much.
Ain't nothing changed. Yeah, ain't nothing changed.
That's funny.
It's gonna be interesting in the NFC.
I do want to say this though. I do want to say this because remember when we had our show last week and George was like, "Nah, we ain't doing no division trades. Man, we don't do the trades in division." And didn't I say picks and players change those things? Picks and players change minds. So, and plus you did bring up that maybe he was disgruntled players, and yeah, we can afford to kind of let you go. Like I said, if Jonathan Allen was disgruntled and maybe you didn't have the outlook of a Jaden Daniels, I think that could become more of a reality if you didn't have a Jaden Daniels new coaching staff where he felt like, I'm all right, I'm a little revived right here. Let me see how it goes. If you still came back with Sam Howell and still had Ron Rivera, dog, I think we could have snagged him.
Yeah, I think so. The team hope swings eternal out here in DC. People, I'm telling you, people love Jaden Daniels out here. And I'm not even like hyping it up. Like ever since day one, they've been loving him. They've been saying he's a great, great quarterback. He's a grinder. They say that he's got great poise. I think.
What else they gonna say?
I know, but I'm no. There's shit on him though too if he was bad. But I think he's going to be all right. I do trust Adam Peters. That's one thing I do want to say. Like, I know getting rid of Dotson, that hurts. If you look at it black and white, maybe it's the fan in me. Maybe I'm being biased because I like Dotson. He only has 500 yards the past 2 years. He had 7 touchdowns his first season. And, as people that study football all the time, touchdowns fluctuate, man, but they bounce up and down. If you don't know how it's going to work, right? That's with a different quarterback, different regime. I think that quarterback was Carson Wentz, believe it or not, with that 7 touchdowns, ironically enough. How small a world it is, right? So I like Dotson. I mean, but let Peters cook, man. The third-round picks, he got Fred Warner in the third round. He got a bunch of other people in the third round. So we'll see what happens, man. So let them build a little bit. We'll see how it goes.
We'll see. I want to ask though, because this is going to sound like a hater remark, and it is what it is. I'm fully ready for every Cowboy to come, from my neck. do you think that their hesitation or trepidation, like wanting to sign guys like Gilmore or go out there and spend on a big, free agent to shore up a spot, do you think it's connected to them not signing Dak? Do you think that they're just nervous to put too much money into this team and want to kind of wait till next year and then restart everything with a kind of a clear cap space, or at least clearer cap space?
It could be. You know what I'm saying? I've already said that the reason why they're waiting right now because they don't want to give up that you're signing 2 superstars before week 1. Let me see it. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of money going off the payroll. Let me see. Let me really see that happen. And so I think, I think they have maybe doubts of certain things heading into the future, and that's why I said you don't see Mike McCarthy signed up. This could be. If it don't happen this year, then we just blow it up, and we got options to do things going into next year. But like I said, the biggest problem with Dallas is it's sit on their hands. Like Dallas has picked up 2 guys, Jordan Phillips and Linval Joseph, to shore up the front. Cowboys, we're like, okay, now we got some beef up front. I made a video 4 years ago about these dudes. Okay, I made a video 4 years about Jordan Phillips specifically. I said he's my number 1 free agent I want Dallas to pick up. He was 27 years old, coming off 9.5 sacks. He was reasonable where you could have paid him. And then, maybe he could have been a guy that could have got you over the hump. At that point, I'll tell everybody, Dallas waits till they get 30, 31 years old, and they're cheaper, and then they get them. Now, I ain't mad they went out and did it, but it's like you 4 years behind, dog.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? That's the issue. Y'all always behind. Yes, y'all got signings, but are they at their peak now? Are they at the position where they really going to significantly help your team? Jordan Phillips 4 years ago was a dog rushing the passer. Now he's your 3 tech at 31, 32. I don't know. And I listened to Seth Joyner. He said something that was very poignant to me when they were talking about this trade with Jahan Dotson. He was saying, when usually teams trade within the division, that player was not going to be there. Like
that's kind of
they had no future, or they didn't have no feeling for him, so it wasn't no big deal for them to let him go. We just traded for Phillips with New York. So when he said that, he said them kind of trades never work because that dude, they ain't never want that dude. They ain't want him, so they ain't tripping on him. So that's why I wonder, like, what Jordan Phillips are we getting? That's all I'm saying. Are we getting the Jordan Phillips from a few years ago, or are we getting the Jordan Phillips that they're like, he wasn't going to make team anywhere, so you can have him?
Exactly. I think that's one thing that does come up a lot. We talk about in Sports Talk Radio around here. Like when you trade within a division, you know that player more than anybody else. If you're willing to give him to another player inside the division, that means you don't respect him. We don't care about him so much more, right? Like we
ain't worried about you.
We ain't worried about you, 100%. We kind of ate it a couple of times from watching. Freaking shout out to Donovan McNabb coming over to DC. That was miserable. We had him coming over here. The one thing that was good though, we got Deshaun Jackson action was that panned out good for us. That was a good one there. But I agree with you. And James, I think that I'm not being a hater. I'm just being honest with you. When I see that Linval Joseph and Jordan Phillips, that's like a blip on the radar for me. Like I'm not really worried about that. Like I don't see that as a big addition. And I guess you guys, seems like the common things that you're thinking as well. Like it's depth, but you're not really pumped about that draft. A good addition.
Yeah, like I didn't see those 2 signings like, oh shit, we getting over the hump, dog. We going to the Super Bowl now. Like that didn't move the needle for me. You'll just say, okay, Dallas went out and got depth. Now we got some big boys in the middle. But 35-year-old Linval Joseph, I'm not jumping up and down about that. A 32-year-old Jordan Phillips, I'm happy you did it, right? I'm happy you did it. But is it moving the needle for us? Is it really going to help and take us to a next level? And that's, you get what I'm saying? You got to have some next level players. I do
want to hop in real quick because I know we have this for everybody. This show is going to be a little bit shorter than usual, like 10, 15 minutes shorter. So I do want to get a couple of questions in because people are asking questions. And shout out to everybody. We got 308 people in here. So we love y'all, boogie, whatever. I don't know. But Radar from Georgia's chat actually has a question for me. He says, quick question. How do you feel about Nolan Smith, Joe? I'm glad you asked that question because
that's a good question.
I will say, and I think
about
James can attest to this. When he did get drafted, there was a lot of talk about him being a top 10 guy, and I was adamant that he was not a top 10 guy, and people were freaking killing me for it. They were killing me for it. I thought that even at 30, it was a little bit of a stretch. I'll be honest with you. Now that he's an Eagle, obviously I got love for him, but I will say, I think people were overhyping him at the draft. I think people are a little bit over-hating him now during this preseason. I don't think he's great. I don't think that he's, a world changer. I don't think he'll probably start this year. But I do think that the athleticism and the flashes that he's shown, I'm not giving up on him. And that's you even look at Cooper, and that's why I said that Eagles fans are freaking fickle, man. You look at Cooper DeJean, people were roasting this dude. He had his first game back, and people are killing this kid. So give him some time. I understand he's a first-round pick. I don't think that he's going to blow you away this year, but I don't think that he's as bad as a lot of people are making it seem. I think we just have a lot of young pass rushers, and that's kind of why you're seeing him play a lot in this preseason. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
So real quick, shout out to my boy Radar. Radar's my boy. I talk to him every single day. I like, but he told me, he's like, I'm gonna come on the chat on Sunday and ask Joe about Nolan Smith. He told me about that straight up. So that's funny. A counter question or a backup question to that, right? People, they love Howie Roseman. They hype him up a lot. Is it justified, Joe? And James, you back this up as well, right? You're looking at his draft picks, you're looking at his acquisitions, Nolan Smith, Kelly Ringo, Nakobe Dean, players like that. Is he holding it down for real? Or is it just kind of more of like the media glazing?
He don't hold it down in the draft. He hold it down in free agency. He don't hold it down in the draft. And that's been the knock on Howie. And you know that, Joe. That's been his knock.
I'm going to be honest because I got love for y'all. You know what I'm saying? We're brothers. We're happy and we're singing. James ain't wrong. But I will say that I think that he's gotten better in the draft. I think he's gotten worlds better in the draft because his first couple drafts were really, really suspect. I mean, we can go back to Marcus Smith, and everybody's probably like, who the heck is that? Exactly. Like, you can look at some of these drafts, and they've been bad. But I think that if you look at what he's been able to do lately, I think it's been a lot better. I think that Nakobe Dean, the jury's kind of still out. He has looked better. He's looked like he can do some things. Jeremiah Trotter has honestly impressed me a lot, and I didn't think he was going to be that good. You look at some of these guys, I mean, obviously Jalen Carter, that was crazy. That was kind of a no-brainer. We'll see what happens with Quinyon and Cooper. I think he's getting better, but to say that, he's not a masterclass drafter. I will say that. He's not the best drafter in the world, but I think that when you look at the trades he's able to make in part with the draft, like you add it to the draft, the way he's able to get assets, the way he's able to put himself in good positions come draft time, I think that counts for something. But yeah, I think that, he's just a beast when it comes to free agency and trades. Like, it's just crazy what he's able to do. But yeah, he's getting better. Man. I gotta leave me alone.
I'm gonna say, I think he's a better talent evaluator maybe on the front after he's seen guys play. Yeah, I think where he's missing the ball, where he's not actually seeing guys touch the field, and he's just not really seeing that aspect. But I mean, it's kind of hard. I mean, Nolan Smith, he was highly rated. Georgia, I mean, those guys were highly rated coming out of college. So yeah, but I think Nolan Smith. I think we all kind of agree. Nolan Smith was kind of a reach, even when he was in college. I think we all kind of, for real. If you really watched it, like, Ringo, you know what I mean. But we'll see. Master. And I'm gonna look at the Hodson thing because y'all just re-signed Devontae. I'm just be looking at all that because now you got three guys. You got Goddard over there. I'm just gonna be looking at things. Make sure everybody getting the ball and everybody happy over there because we know people didn't get mad over there when they don't get the ball.
Mm-hmm. Now, Twist said we have guys that retire here, but we don't draft well. The two can be both true. I mean, both can be true. At the end of the day, I'm not saying he's bad. I didn't say he was a terrible drafter. I just said he's getting better. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Now I have to ask this because I can't find who asked it, but somebody did ask this. I promise. There you go. Michael DeJean asked about Mazi. So I want to preface this. When we went out and got Linval Joseph and Ndamukong Suh, all we heard was, "What about Fletch? What about Jordan? Are they bad? Are they not good players?" So now that you go out and get a Linval Joseph, and you go get the other guy you got, Jordan David or Phillips or whatever his name is. What does that mean for Mazi? Because isn't he a true run stopper? Isn't that kind of what he was drafted for?
Listen, bro. You talking to me right here, okay? You talking to me right here. You ain't talking to everybody else. You know I ain't going on hype trains. I don't trust Mozzie still.
Mm.
And if I don't trust him, and Mike Zimmer, who's been here in the NFL for 100 years, I know he don't trust him. So that's why he went. He said, y'all gotta give me some other people. I don't care who you got to do. Give me some people I can trust." Linville Joseph played for him for like 6 years, and I know he's older, but I feel like he's probably got more trust right there. I can trust this guy right here more than I can trust Amazi Smith. And I'm sorry, I've been telling people this on my own show last week. I listened to his interviews, and once again, in my opinion, I just feel like this is a guy who's being made to play football. I'm playing football because I'm 6'3", 6'2", 300 pounds. This is my job. This is what I have to do. That's all I hear. And like I said, you don't gotta love the game of football because not everybody in the NFL loves the game of football. I know that. But dog, it's just I just don't see it. I want to see it, but I just don't see it. I don't feel it, and I feel like Zimmer's feeling the same thing. Like I don't trust this guy. Yes, we're working and he's getting better, but dog, if you didn't get a Linville Joseph and you get Jordan Phillips and you was going in there with just Mozzie and some other guys, bruh, you're gonna get worked. Mozzie is still, in my opinion, not ready for this. He's still, and they say like this is gonna take like 2 to 3 years. I'm not saying he's a bust, but I don't ever think he's going to validate that first round status. Period.
To be honest with you, James, I think he's overdrafted. I wasn't a big fan of Mozzie Smith.
Yes.
I thought he was more of like a run stopping.
I was never hyped. I was hyped because, come on, y'all know it. Big man, we ain't drafted defensive tackle in forever, so you have that natural. Okay, let's go. But I wasn't like, let's go. All right, we got Mozzie. We about to destroy. And Joe will tell you that. Joe, no, I wasn't jumping up and down about Mozzie. I was like, okay, we got a defensive tackle. He's a big boy. Let's see. But Joe, no, I wasn't jumping up and down about no Mozzie Smith because I already had the Michigan thing in my head. We got bad taste from Taco Charlton and other Michigan players. Schoonmaker ain't did nothing. Michigan players ain't came through and did nothing. So I was already having that. And then he comes out and plays like that, and it's like, see, you should have left the Michigan players alone.
Yeah. You don't draft defensive tackles early unless they can generate a pass rush.
Not right? Michigan defensive tackles.
Well,
y'all feel me though? I don't know what Michigan defensive tackles come in and just I don't know.
Well, I mean, Hutchinson's a defensive end. Hutchinson from the Lions.
Hutchinson's a DN. I'm talking about in that middle.
Okay.
They got that kid Jenkins. Is that his name? Chris something, right?
Yeah, Chris Jenkins Jr. Right?
Decent. Yeah, he's decent.
Mm-hmm. We'll see what happens. He's a rookie, though. Yeah, he's a rookie.
Yeah, we'll see.
We see. I don't trust it. I'm like Public Enemy. I don't trust
it. So, all right, we got about like 10 more minutes. I want to kind of focus on George real quick because you guys do have a game tonight. What are you looking for? I think that you guys have the most invested out of the three, at least in this preseason. What is it you're looking for in this last game? Who do you think is going to play? Are there any surprise guys that you think we'll actually see some time? And I want to give a shout out to McMarkey for saying I lost weight.
Hey, there you go.
Oh, hey.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
But
raise the roof.
So George, talk to me, brother. What are you looking for tonight?
Yeah, so walking in, so they already said Jaden Daniels is not going to play tonight. They put him on ice. They're going to let him rest for the rest of the preseason, which I think is smart. We don't want to get him hit. We want to make sure he's healthy. He ain't nothing to prove. Daniels is legit, guys. I think as long as he stays healthy, he's going to be good. I'm happy with him.
I think he's going to be good, too.
I think another player that I think you guys should keep an eye on, speaking of Michigan, is Mike Sanders still. He's our nickel back. He's a good cornerback. I like him a lot, man. He's actually a really good player. He's already putting his nose in the run game. He's a really strong player, so I'm happy with that there. He's not going to play, I don't think. What I'm looking for, the big three in Washington is the offensive line, it's the wide receivers and defensive backs. So that's what we're looking for, right? So we'll see if Emmanuel Forbes plays. Speaking of like rookie picks and how they are panning out or not, he's had a rough ride, Emmanuel Forbes, over the past year and a half. We'll see what happens if he even plays tonight. So I'm curious how he's going to play. The wide receiver room, right? So we got rid of we got rid of Dotson now. Who's going to step up? Is Diami Brown going to come in there and be an impactful player? Is Luke McCaffrey kind of coming along? Like Luke McCaffrey, I think he's going to be a good player because he has that legendary, like that McCaffrey work ethic. But if you guys forgot, he was a quarterback. He was actually came in Nebraska as a quarterback for the first 2 years. The last 2 years he's been at Rice as a wide receiver. He's grinding. Him and Jaden Daniels come in every morning, 5:30, 5:45 in the morning to work out. But I just don't know if he's there yet. So I'm watching him. Ben Sinnott, tight end, I'm looking at him. And then finally the offensive line. Like I think the whole key to being successful this year is going to be the offensive line and protecting Jaden Daniels. If he's standing up upright and they can protect him and they can throw the ball around, I think he's going to be all right. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. And I guess the last thing I'll say is I just want to see how we're going to generate our offense. I'm worried about explosiveness, right? We have McLaurin as a good pass catcher. We have Damian Brown, he's our explosive guy now. We have Sinnott, we have Ertz, we have Eckler, we have Brian Robinson. We have guys that can get little small plays here or there, but can we be explosive? And I think in today's NFL, and you guys know, it's all about flipping the field. Can you get those big chunk plays to get you 3 points, get you a touchdown, 40-yard plays? I don't know if Washington has that right now. So to summarize that, I'm looking at the offensive line, wide receivers, and quarterbacks. That's what I'm looking for. Because it's going to be because there's no one defined there yet. We're trying to find them over today. That's what we're looking for here.
I won't speak for James, but we were both at the Senior Bowl, and I can say Luke McCaffrey stood out. He definitely stood out. You definitely saw him every practice.
He can be good for you, I think.
Yeah.
I think his work ethic. Maybe he's under the radar right now, but then out of nowhere, you were like, damn, look at Luke McCaffrey.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like them genes and that work ethic just
you know what I'm talking about, yeah.
You feel me? They just make it.
And that's why I think Jahan Dotson is now a Philadelphia Eagle, right? It's
I believe that.
It's Jahan Dotson, you're putting him back a punt return, he's kind of rolling his eyes. Luke McCaffrey is running the freaking catch the ball. And if you're a coach, who would you rather have on your team? You know what I'm saying? That's what it comes down to. I think that's why Jahan Dotson popped loose. So we'll see what happens.
Jahan Dotson better figure it out, because if he's gonna make
he come over to Philly and don't be turning up, boy, they're gonna tear his ass.
He might be punt returning because at the end of the day, someone's got to leave, and if Covey ends up being the one that gets cut, who's gonna punt return? Who's gonna kick return? I mean, we got Isaiah Rodgers, we got other people, so I guess that's a conversation for another time. But yeah, no. George, before we get off of here, let them know you have an interview coming up. So I want to make sure everybody tries. We have 356 people.
Oh, hell yeah, appreciate that.
So shout out to everybody, man. We appreciate y'all. But go on over to George's interview. Let them know where they can find that, what you guys are doing over there.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Joe. Thank you for that, man. So let me say one quick thing. Tonight, because it's Sunday Night Football with the Patriots and the Commanders, one player that's kind of fun to watch is Kaz Allen. I'll put that out there for you guys. He's a wide receiver that was at UCLA, punt returner. I think he in high school he 70 touchdowns over his high school career. He's a wide receiver they're trying out at running back. So you might see him tonight while on TV. We're trying to find a way for him to play. He's pretty explosive, so he's fun to watch. So keep out for that name later on tonight. And then Joe, thanks for the plug, man. I appreciate it. The reason why we're cutting the show early is because at 1:00 I got my show on. At GCarmy21 on Twitter. You can find me, the Big Doug and Carmy Show on YouTube. Linnell Willingham, who basically is our beat reporter here in DC, we're interviewing him pregame for our game tonight. So if you want to hear anything about the Commanders, want to hear about the Jahan Dotson trade, how the local media feels about it, any intel on that, in about 10 minutes we're going to go live. And love to have you guys there, so check us out.
Go check it out. You guys got anything you want to say to these beautiful people before we? I just want to say thank y'all. Y'all be killing it, man. 360 people. Y'all kill it. I know that sometimes we're a little bit off schedule, and it is what it is. But y'all are always here, absolutely killing it. But y'all got anything y'all want to say to these beautiful people before we get out of here?
Just want to say I appreciate it. Go ahead, James. Go ahead.
Only thing I was gonna say, Julius Wood, my dog needs to make the squad. Got another interception yesterday in the game, 2 interceptions in 3 preseason games. I don't know what more he got to do but get on the squad, Dallas. Don't make that mistake and cut him, because he ain't gonna clear waivers. Period.
You got to play for free. If you want to play for Dallas long, you got to play for free.
At a discount for sure, 100%.
Right.
Yeah.
At Dallas discount. But we appreciate everybody in the chat. I'm gonna figure out what's going on with Restream and try and get these chats back popping, because it's annoying. But we appreciate y'all so much. Hopefully we'll see y'all next week. I'm sure we will. Next week we have football. We have football, like actual football, if I'm not mistaken. So should be a lot of fun. Appreciate y'all. I can't say it enough. Other than that, though, y'all know what it is, man. I am Joe. That is James. And that is George. We are the best Adams. Peace.
We're brothers.